welcome back to FanCastit's Halloween episode. We're in part 2. We're FanCastit Chill. The girls are here. This is very, very special for me because I've always wanted to be on one of these episodes. Thank you.
We are honored to have you.
Thank you.
Very excited. Time to get our spook on.
Spooky, let's get spooky.
Okay, I'm Cora.
Courtney.
And I'm Sean.
Yeah, so Courtney and I are from FanCastit and Chill. We basically talk about TV and stuff like that, different Netflix and stuff.
Today we're talking about top 10 Halloween episodes on TV. Alright, so hold no gloves and no punches back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are rolling into this, starting with Courtney explaining the most iconic TV show that has been on television and the most episodic ever. The Simpsons!
Hey, okay, so we have the Treehouse of Horror series. I'm not even gonna call it just like a one episode because let's be real, there are how many
There's like
seasons?
24 of them. There's like 25.
Yeah, they started the very first season.
There's a lot.
And now there's like what, like 30 seasons basically. So that's probably like 30 episodes. It's made its whole series. The one I remember most is from the very first season with the Raven.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up actually.
Yeah, the Raven. Oh my gosh.
That one was terrifying.
Yeah, and the aliens and the haunted house. That was all in one, like 3 different parts, but it was all in one episode. And what was it? Quote the Raven.
Oh,
yeah.
Don't get me started. I know like the first 6 verses off by heart.
Yeah, actually. Oh,
yes,
I want to hear them.
Oh gosh, was this happening? This
You
Oh,
put it
it's
on the
happening.
spot?
Oh, yeah,
It's
I'm-
right
I'm
now?
Okay. Once upon a midnight jury, while I wandered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore. While I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door.
Save it for the album!
Yeah.
Cora's mixtape dropping soon.
I could go on, but we'll cut it off for there. Yeah.
No,
That was incredible.
that I loved
Yeah,
it. That was
I
great.
literally
Cora.
had to go.
Poe is my favorite. Annabelle Lee holds a special place in my heart, and he's the horror lord, and I love him to death.
I want to say that Treehouse of Horror got me through Halloween very, very briskly. It was like it was one of my cartoon callbacks if I'm watching like anything scary like when I was a kid. I love seeing the Raven episode, obviously.
Yeah.
I love seeing the Dial Z for Zombies one where Homer essentially kills zombie Shakespeare in the hallway and there's a bunch of like famous people and it's like none of you were buried in Springfield. This is horribly inaccurate but a good episode. And the one where he goes back in time using the toaster. That one was fun because it explains like a lot of things, like how Simpsons has like multiple universes because you mess up something in the timeline and Homer just kept going back and forth and whatnot. So yeah, moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Cool. If anybody knows anything about 90s kids and they're bald-headed kids, they know that a lot of them aren't good, except for one specifically done by Charles
Schultz.
Oh no, Charles Schultz? Yeah, I got the first name right. All right. So I was gonna say someone entirely different, but Charles Schultz created the perfect bald-headed kid with the worst misfortune in the world. No.
Caillou is trash. Don't bring that name up here.
don't you do it.
So evil.
That bald. No.
He's a brat.
Hell no. Okay, so we're talking about Charlie Brown, the Peanuts character who became famous and had one of the most famous iconic dogs ever recognized, especially here in Canada because at Wonderland we have an entire Peanuts land with Charlie Brown, Snoopy, Lucy, Linus, etc. Basically what I'm getting at, the Great Pumpkin. So, essentially what goes down in this is Charlie Brown is in Halloween and, you know, he goes through misfortunes in life. He creates a ghost costume to go trick-or-treating with all his friends. What happens is he cuts too many holes in his actual blanket and it turns really, really bad and he walks around and essentially everybody else gets candy and he gets a rock. Every single time. It's like, I got chocolate, I got an apple, I got a rock. Every time. which was hilarious. I died when I was a child. So good. Second half of it, obviously, the great pumpkin aspect is Linus, who is a big believer in all things make-believe, but is theoretically correct with most life topics, goes to the pumpkin patch that's located in their town, and he takes Sally, Charlie Brown's sister, who wants to tag along with him because she is he is her sweet babu, even though he doesn't like her. They sit all night and wait in the pumpkin patch for the great pumpkin, who never shows up.
Oh.
There was a moment where Linus thought it was coming, and it was just Snoopy raising his head up out of the pumpkin patch with a pumpkin attached to it, because I think Snoopy had crashed into a pumpkin and essentially.
I thought he was like intentionally trying to start stuff. That's how Snoopy rolls.
Yeah, Snoopy's a jokester. All of this culminates into a Halloween party at the end where they have fun, dance, and have soda, and Schroeder plays the piano, which is how most Charlie Brown cartoons go. So, that's Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin.
Next we have 16, which is one of my favorite shows. If you know this about me, you are probably a friend of mine because it's embarrassing. I mean, it's not embarrassing at all.
It's not embarrassing.
It is.
It really isn't.
Okay.
16 is awesome.
16 is awesome, according to Sean, which means it's accurate. So 16, Due to the Living Dead is specifically the episode I'm going with. If you haven't seen 16, basically there are 6 main teenagers, and they go through, they are 16 years old, they go through the trials and tribulations of being that age. And in this specific episode, there's a zombie attack, and Jen has this big zit, and it causes like, basically, it was almost like PTSD for Jude, because he he had a dream basically of the zombies happening and killing everybody and eating people, and he woke up and Jen still had that exact zit and started the exact same way. It doesn't make sense, but you need to watch the episode for it to make sense.
And I'm having such a nostalgia trip right now, like, it's ridiculous just hearing you talk about this.
I point out that old stickets were the cause of zombies in Jude's dream.
That's actually true, yeah.
Only stickets, so Jude essentially causes zombie apocalypse within the mall. And
he also solves the zombie apocalypse with his like suicide sauce that he makes that kills all the zombies, but they run out of sauce because there are too many zombies in this like West Edmonton type mall, or Eaton Center / West Edmonton type mall, and they run out of suicide sauce, and they can't kill all the zombies. Yeah, they die and become zombies. So that is 16 for you!
So the next one we're going to talk about is not necessarily a Halloween episode, but from a Halloween show. I'm talking The X-Files, and I'm talking the only episode that they ever had with a TVMA rating. That would be Home. This ish was freaky, and I'm using that word because we're trying to stay a little bit censored, but yes, exactly. So it's got all your recipes, every point for disturbing. It's got incest, it's got Civil War trauma, it's got deformed babies being buried alive, it's got Karen Knoble, and pigs. And
sounds like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, so it's phenomenal, and it's one of the, like, I do go back and watch a lot of X-Files episodes, but this is definitely one that I like to go back and watch time after time. It's well written, it's well acted, especially, again, Karen Knoble. She plays the mother of the 3 boys who are all demented, and there's one scene where you see Mulder and Scully literally pull her out from under a bed because the boys are like breeding with her to carry on their storyline. Yeah, you guys are getting sickened out just hearing me talk about it. Try watching the episode. Yeah. She's just terrifying, and she's like, "No, I'm home. These are my boys," kind of thing like that. And she comes back in another episode in season 11 as Judy, I believe, and +1, an episode with doppelgangers. But yeah, so very creepy, Very disturbing and kind of unique as far as that show goes, so definitely check it out if you have not done so already.
I definitely need to see a therapist after that description. So, like 16, this is just like a thing of just fiction. In Community, basically, we have two characters, Troy and
Abed.
Yeah, okay. So those two characters essentially are at the office. Zombie outbreak happens because the heat's too high. They essentially get down to thermostat to turn it down and become zombies, but there's some malfunction and the heat gets turned down anyway and everybody ends up fine. Obviously there's a lot of comedy within the episode because it's Community and Childish Gambino's hilarious. That's pretty much all that needs to be said about it.
Also, somebody got pregnant.
Oh, and somebody got pregnant.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Cora, Stranger Things?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm bringing it back to Stranger Things, and in particular, I'm going to say season 2. It was just, I gotta give a little bit of story setting here. Stranger Things dropping, I think it was October 27th of 2017. I had just gotten back from Screamers, and we were like, my boyfriend and I at the time, we were planning on staying up till midnight. We're like, we're watching this, like, I don't care if it drops now, I don't care how dead we're going to be, this is gonna happen. Unfortunately, it dropped at 3 a.m. We're like, okay, we need a little bit of sleep. I ended up binge watching it the next day, and I think finished the entire season 2. So yeah, once it dropped, we ended up binge watching it, finished the entire season in 2 days, probably got in our sweatpants. It was amazing. So yeah, I believe it was the first episode that was particularly Halloween themed. The entire show is really creepy, but this one, they had all the boys trick-or-treating and, you know, even a little bit of everything. And I just loved the montage. I love seeing them, you know, the whole, like, you're Venkman. No, I was supposed to be Venkman. That was hilarious. Like, I'm dying.
Yeah.
Hasn't seen it yet.
You need to watch it. Yeah.
Spoilers. There's comedy in like the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
But it's terrifying.
Yeah, I'm a scaredy cat, so that's why I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. And also, can we talk to just how cute Millie Bobby Brown was when she put the sheet over her head and was trying to get Hopper to try and let her out on Halloween, because I would let you out. I know you're being hunted by, like, you know, the government and all the bad guys, but still, like, a girl needs her candy, so...
I was very, very impressed with how the season went and how Eleven progressed as a character. I was more saddened by Sam biting the dust. That sucked. That sucked for me because I thought he was gonna make it, and then as soon as I saw the broom fall, I was like, I can't go any further because obviously, but Courtney's not gonna watch it.
What? You guys say all these things that I'll never watch.
You just said you were a chicken and you weren't gonna see it.
No, I said I was a scaredy cat. I'd rather be a cat than a chicken.
Next.
Speaking of animals.
Oh, yes! Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? Okay, so I know there are lots of Halloween episodes, but I'm actually gonna flip the script and talk about a movie
because I'm covering Scooby.
Oh.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
But no, you go ahead.
We're talking about Scooby-Doo. He's going to talk about the episode. I'm going to talk about one particular movie that was central to my childhood, which was the Scooby-Doo episode with the witches. Do you remember what it's called?
Zombie Island.
It was Zombie Island!
Yeah.
Yes! Okay! Yes, that's what's called. So, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's multiple Scooby-Doo episodes, obviously. They've had, like, obvious Halloween-esque episodes. They've had Scooby-Doo with Sherlock Holmes. They've had Scooby-Doo with
Batman.
Ninja Turtles. They've had Scooby-Doo with Batman. They've had Scooby-Doo with Don Knotts and any other character you can imaginably think of, because Scooby-Doo was immensely popular through the 90s, 80s, and
early 2000s as well, yeah.
70s.
Oh, and 70s.
70s, that's too.
60s.
No,
And
60s.
I wouldn't say so much 60s.
Well, it came out in the 60s.
It was starting out, but not as popular.
Let's just say Scooby-Doo is basically timeless.
It's timeless. It even came out with 2 movies that really, really were terrible, but good for its time. I'm specifically going to be covering the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. So, basically what happens in the series is there's no Fred or Velma because they're off doing their own thing. It stars Daphne, Shaggy, Scooby, Scrappy, and a young Spanish boy named Flim Flam, which makes sense. They meet a wizard named Vincent Van Gogh?
Vincent Van Gogh?
Or Vincent Van Gogh.
Oh,
that is his name.
Yeah,
Vincent Van Gogh. I thought of Vincent Van Gogh because it sounds the same. Anyway, Vincent Van Gogh has a chest of demons which holds 13 ghosts that can plague the world. Scooby-Doo accidentally opens the box, and now the chest of demons is open. 13 ghosts disappear out into the world. They essentially have to jump into the mystery machine and find all 13 ghosts and put them back in the chest of demons. While in this, Daphne gets possessed. They fly into the Bermuda Triangle. Von Ghoul meets his ex-girlfriend. There's a bunch of stuff that just happens. It's really, really messed up. Flim Flam has like a lots and lots of like joy juice thing. It's just, he's essentially a con artist, which makes the show pretty racist. But yeah, first time colored person Scooby-Doo. Well, yeah, no, I'd say first time colored person Scooby-Doo. Yeah, it's enjoyable, but not the greatest Halloween episode or franchise of Scooby-Doo, as I say, as you will be talking about the best one. The Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island movie.
What I remember most about this movie is I watched it when I was little, and I think I saw it maybe once or twice, so it's kind of those vague, like, fuzzy memories you have, but it's set in Louisiana. I think the gang, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're just kind of looking to spend a weekend away or do some investigation. Yeah,
they never really want to stumble into these investigations. They just kind of want to chill, and then they...
This one, actually, they did.
Oh.
Daphne hosts a TV show, and they are looking for an actual, or she's looking for an actual ghost story, because essentially everything that they end up doing ends up being some person who's out of money that needs to gain one. Or
yeah,
right. It's coming back. Okay.
Or monsters. So, I think one of the women approaches them about the Zombie Island curse and everything going on with Morgan Moonscar and that, and they take the boat to Louisiana. You can continue from there.
Alright, I don't remember the whole thing, but I will just talk about the moment that scarred me the most. There was this big hole in the ground, and I remember watching these zombies like crawling out and just going towards Scooby, and Scooby like, ah! And running away, and that is the memory that is ingrained when I think of Scooby-Doo Zombie Island. So give some context and hit it away, because that's all I'm gonna say about it.
Here's me trying to hit this out of the ballpark. Let's go. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, like I said, starts with the premise where Daphne is a news reporter. There's all 5 main characters, obviously. 5? Yes, 5 main characters. They go into Louisiana. They piss off the boat driver, obviously, because the dog on the boat. They get there. The owner is not very keen on dogs. Obviously, that'll play a part later on, as she doesn't want the dog in the house.
The dog? You mean Scooby?
Yes.
Why you call him the dog like that?
He's a dog!
He's not just a dog, he's a talking dog.
He's a canine that speaks. There's been a lot of theories about that. It's mostly dogs just hallucinations by the gang when the dog talks, because yeah. But anyway, they stumble onto something in the house by Velma picking at the wall, which was essentially part of the boat that Morgan Moonscar, our resident ghost, had taken to the island. Him and his crew died on the island after pillaging it. And what the gang find out later is that the 2 owners that invited them there end up being witches or cat demons. And they end up trying to kill the gang and boost their immortality. Same as the boat driver. The boat driver also assumes a role as a cat demon as well. They stop all 3 of them, and in the process save the ghouls, who are actually not ghouls meant there to harm them, but to warn them and help them.
Yeah. And I think, just going off of that, I think that was one of the only few episodes where there was not a genuine human villain, if that's something that comes back to mind.
It was demons, witches, ghosts, and ghouls.
Exactly, which kind of terrified me as a small child, so...
Yep.
Was the first real Scooby-Doo episode, where if you pull on somebody's head, it's going to come clean off.
Do not attempt at home. Just a warning.
Speaking of boats, segue.
Alright, so I'm going to bring it back to... Oh, no, that's... close enough. Okay, so we had a spin-off from the boats. It was Sweet Life on Deck was the spin-off, but the original Halloween episode we're going to bring to the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. This is when they're in the hotel. I think the boys are probably about 14 or 15 at the time. I don't remember too much of the episode. I just remember it's iconic. The full episode somehow showed up on my Facebook feed a couple years back, and I ended up watching it thinking I have no life right now. But I was glad I did. I remember they ended up trying to do a seance, I think, to try and contact like the ghost of the hotel, and it was just so absurd because it was a kids show. But I think they ended up getting they ended up connecting with the ghost, but then Esteban, who was doing the whole seance, ended up getting put on hold while he was there, and there was windows slamming shut, and it was actually pretty decently creepy for a Disney, like, typically more dramatic comedy show, and just perfectly stupid and glorious, and what a trip, guys.
Okay. If anybody has ever seen this series, they know that this is an occurring theme. If you've ever seen How I Met Your Mother, Ted has rooftop parties on Halloween where he dresses up as a ballot card every Halloween, every single year, to get to see this same pumpkin girl, as I'm not even going to reference what they actually call her, but it in fact turned out to be guest star Katie Holmes playing the girl in the pumpkin costume when she returns in like the later seasons. As of right now, this series is done. Ted's with Robin. Get over it. Spoilers. If you haven't seen
Wait, they are? I'm just kidding. I did that.
Anyway, Ted goes onto the rooftop and waits every year for this pumpkin to show up to the party. And every year, without fail, even though they've invited the same people over and over again, and all Ted has to do is look at the list of people that they've invited and see who's missing, and he could narrow it down. He still wakes up there in his ballot costume, waiting for this girl. Okay, Brooklyn Nine-Nine in its Halloween episodes. I think these are some of the best comedic sketches done within the show because it challenged Raymond Holt's character as a serious, stern guy to get onto Jake's level as being the most childish for obtaining a simple plaque in a game of cat and mouse, where essentially the first person with the plaque to end off at midnight when Halloween is done essentially becomes king of the office for that Halloween episode, or greatest detective. That's it. Greatest detective of the office. We've seen Jake win the trophy, we've seen Gina win the trophy, we've seen Amy win the trophy, we've seen Raymond hold it, and it's been a reoccurring theme forever. They use Charles, they use Terry, who Terry does not want to be involved in, but he somehow gets roped into it. They use Scully and... Wow, why am I blanking on the other dude's name? I'm gonna skip it. Anyway, these are like some of the best comedic sketches. They've had people steal things, they've had people handcuff each other to the table, they've had people sneak dogs through ventilation shafts, they've broke open safes, they've essentially let loose criminals just to get it back. So if you haven't seen it, it's like one of the best reoccurring Halloween episodes on TV right now.
Thanks again, everyone, for watching. I've been Cora.
I've been Sean.
And I've been Courtney.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You know what to do. Like, share, subscribe. and hit the notification bell. Thank you so much. This has been FanCastit Chill and FanCastit Scream Halloween episode season 2. Thank you for watching. Good night.